All right, how's it going? This is Today in Art, and today is Friday, August 17th, 2018. So hopefully, if you know the deal by now, I'm going to Google some art news, see what pops up, look at it, inform myself, because I'm an artist working, and knowing art, knowing your said profession is good, then maybe you're an artist listening too. So you can watch this on YouTube, uh, on my YouTube channel, Christopher Pack, or just the audio later through said podcasting program. Uh, let's just get into it. So let's do three knockout art shows to see in Los Angeles right now. This is in the New York Times. So that'd be cool. All right. The performance artist E.J. Hill at the Hammer Museum in Los Angeles. He appears at the Hammer 6 days a week, standing on a podium like a gold medal winner. Then it is a guy standing on a 3-tier podium. And it's kind of like a little track area if you're just listening. But if you want to see these, like if I'm going through the article, you'll obviously if you're on YouTube, you'll see what I'm looking at here. But also I'll have the link to the articles, or articles, whichever one it is, like in the description. So you can like look it up later if you're just listening to the audio and you're curious. All right, this came out yesterday by Holland Cotter. Cotter? All right. Los Angeles. If I were a young artist choosing a big coastal city to land in, I'd opt for Los Angeles. No contest. Sure, there are problems, starting with traffic, sprawl, and gentrification. I hate that word. I hate people saying gentrification. Oh, you mean making it better? Housing is hard to find here. It is in New York too, but here the weather's kinder. See, as an artist, not so much today because you have the internet, but it's like you can go to New York or you can go to Los Angeles. I've contemplated going out to California because it seems like it'd be, for me, nice weather year round sounds pretty good. I like the idea of living in New York City as well, but I think the winter theirs are worse than the winters here in Ohio, maybe, and I'm not really a fan of winter since I grew up in North Carolina, kind of near the mountains, but like where I grew up, if it snowed and it like stuck on the ground, like everything was closed. Then like here in Ohio, it's like they're more prepared here, but like they don't care if it snows. It's like, yeah, it's still go. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Because I grew up with that, then I came here and it's like, no. All right. As in New York, on your what the fuck? As in New York, unless you're a cis white male, I don't want to read this anymore. You're a cis white male. I fucking what the fuck? As in New York, unless you're a cis white male, you'll likely have art world entry issues here. In Los Angeles, though, art world ethnic mixing and gender parity, is that what it is? To the extent that they exist, at least feel relatively unforced and organic. And I'm sure many people are working hard to make that. So I'm going to be reading these articles, and then I'll like put it in my opinion. As soon as you say cis white male, I'm not going to take this article serious anymore. I mean, I hate that fucking the SJW bullshit fucking. What is it? I'm oppressed or whatever. Like, no. Like, visit other countries in the world and live there for a little bit, visit that, then come back here and then fucking say that. Anyway, let's get back to the art. Maybe the convencer is, despite the gas-eating miles between everything here, The city still has something like old-time art communities, a social network still only partly regulated by the imperatives of the market machine. The city's museums, even the biggest ones, also have a certain independent streak, a willingness to depart from standard models and the kinds of shows they do and the way they do them, as I noted when I recently dropped in on a few. Made in LA 2018. Hammer Museum. Is this like an opinion piece or something? I already don't like this person. Hammer Museum. Okay, I confess, my take on Los Angeles art world as manageable, equatable, and communal is heavily based on seeing an exhibition called Made in LA 2018 at the Hammer Museum. The first edition of the show was in 2012, conceived as a biannual for local talent, though only a small number of this year's artists were born here. Most are transplants who've stayed, which says something positive right here. Visitors study Lauren Hazley's The Crenshaw District hieroglyph project at the Hammer Museum. There's like some sketching on the wall, a little bit of carving maybe. Kind of like hieroglyphs. Even more positive, on the 33 participants, 2/3 are women, several are black, Latino, or of Asian descent, and at least as many self-identify as queer. The show doesn't tout these demographics, it treats diversity as natural, normal. Nor have the Hammer curators, Anne Elgood, Aaron Christoval, and Mackenzie Stevens, conceived the show along overarching political lines. The operative idea seems to be that all art is fundamentally political, and artists will find their own themes. Is it political? Is the landscape political? Can it be? Can you make it about the gentrification of the area, the industrialization of the place? I'm sure it can be, but sometimes people just want to paint something. Use it as a, some art is just meditative and then you produce something through the meditation. Is that political? Because I wonder if they mean political as in, like political parties, or political as in, like more broad. Like, yeah, more, I guess more like public affairs instead of just like government. I don't know. See, the public affairs thing I can understand, but my elbow's itching. For some, the theme is the city. In a series of photographs, Mercedes Dorame, born here in 1980, focuses on the, Gabrielino Tongva Indians who had occupied the Los Angeles basin for millenniums, and from whom she is descended. On the Hammer Terrace, Lauren Hazley, another young Angelino, has built a monument to the vanishing African-American neighborhood she grew up in. She also has a solo show at the Museum of Contemporary Art through September 3rd. The performance artist E.J. Hill recently revisited 6 of the 7 Los Angeles schools he attended, in all of which he experienced racial hostility. For this biannual, he did fear-conquering victory laps around each, documented in handsome photography by Texas Isaiah. Is that how you spell that? Say that? Isaiah. And he now appears at the Hammer 6 days a week, standing on a podium like a gold medal winner. And that's this image up here, the first image. Even the local art world gets props and paintings by Celeste Dupe Spencer, which include a portrait of the community-minded Los Angeles artist F. Fowler, Miss Dupay Spencer. Is that Dupay? D-U-P-U-Y. A former New Yorker paints overtly political subjects to a Trump rally, a toppled Confederate statue, and topical threads weave through the show. Is this? No, this is somebody else. This is Luchida Horato's paintings at the Hammer Museum. A meditative video piece by the veteran filmmaker James Benning suggests karmic links between the 1960s bombings of Vietnam by the United States and today's California wildfires. That's interesting. A narrative textile hanging by Diedrich Brackens at 29 shows the youngest artist looks like a tropical fantasy but refers to a real-life story of 3 black men who died in police custody at the time when Build the Wall is a campaign cry. The Mexican-American artist Daniel Joseph Martinez documents himself walking the entire length of where the Berlin Wall once stood. The Berlin Wall separated. Was it just? Yeah, it was just Berlin. East and West Germany. Kind of divided a country, not, protected a country like a wall would. Mr. Martinez is one of the city's most influential artists and teachers. Though the show has under-the-radar talent too, the big discovery is Luchida Hurtado, 97, who in the 1960s and 70s, with second-wave feminism revving up, was making extraordinary paintings in her own body, merging with what could easily be a Southern California landscape. She was in New Mexico at the time. She's paired at the Hammer with Christina Quarles, Q-U-A-R-L-E-S, 60 years her junior, who also paints bodies embedded on their environments, but racially and sexually ambiguous and multiplying. Both artists are hands down stars of one of the strongest and most cohesive biennials I have seen anywhere in years. Striking Iron, the Art of African Blacksmiths. Fowler Museum at UCLA. Then it's a couple of people looking at some Sumi Metalworks. Visitors examine bar currencies from northeastern Nigeria at the exhibition Striking Iron, the Art of African Blacksmiths at the Fowler Museum at University of California, Los Angeles. Is Nigeria close to Kenya? I've been to Kenya, but I haven't been to Nigeria. I don't know if that's near it or not. Actually, let's look it up. Let's look it up really quick to see where it's at. How's that? Maps. Let's do maps. I know this is quite a... I'm just curious. See, I've been... No, that's the other side of Africa. Okay, no, that's... Here we go. So Nigeria is over here in the Gulf of Guinea, and I've been to Kenya, which is the other side of the continent. Over here. All right. Adding to a Los Angeles museum, Winning Street, Striking Iron at the Fowler Museum is the most beautiful sculpture show in recent memory. The Fowler is a smallish museum of global cultural history on the University of California, Los Angeles campus. Under the direction of Marla C. Burns, it's one of the most consistently interesting art spaces in town. Striking Iron is a characteristic product, unfamiliar material, passionately researched, utterly gorgeous. Assembled by a team of 5 curators, Alan F. Roberts, William J. Dewey, Henry J. Duraw. Some of these names are just weird and I have hard times pronouncing them. And Miss Burns, and led by the artist Tom Joyce, a sculptor and former blacksmith. The show opens with an expansive picture of iron as an essential cosmic matter. It's the earth's soil in the human bloodstream. It's in the earth's soil, in the human bloodstream, and courses through sub-Saharan Africa history. Extracted by processes physically so extreme as to seem mystical, iron can exhibit wildly contradictory properties in what's it? Incorruptible durability and earthy delicacies. I just got off work and figured I'd drink some coffee and do this before I start fixing breakfast. So if I'm a little, that's why. Because it takes forever for these to upload for some reason on YouTube, so I'm trying to get them done earlier in the day and then have the rest of the day for them to upload. Ritual sickles are mythical creatures with bristling manes in the exhibition Striking Iron, the Art of African Blacksmith at the Fowler Museum. They kind of look like flat iron depictions of like the top part of like seahorses without the big bulbous body. And here's vessels with clusters of rain wands in the exhibition. It's like a kind of durian shaped textured looking pot with like tentacle things coming out of it. And the forms it can take seem endlessly inventive, even those made for everyday. I'll see how long it is. And the forms it can take seems endlessly inventive, even those made for everyday use. A knife forged by a 19th century Yanzi blacksmith in the Democratic Republic of Congo has a gentle flower blossom shape. The perforated blade of a Luba axe looks spider web fine. Forging tools can be sculptures in themselves. Tongs like lithe fingers, hammers are sleekly abstracted by, what is this? Brachysis? Apparently it's looks like a Roman sculpture guy did it. All right. And when tools are released from the realm of labor and conceived for ceremonial use, they can be even more fantastic. A ritual sickle is a mythical creature with a bristling mane. A double hoe suggests the distilled essence of elephant, all trunk and ears. An herbalist's staff trails a flock of tiny fluttering tissue-thin iron birds. A cluster of sinuous rain wands look both like a cloud of sacrificial smoke going up and an answering shower of water coming down. In an alluring installation designed by Sebastian Gloff, the show moves through a spectrum of iron's traditional applications in Africa, to the making of elaborate portable altars, precision-tooled weapons, musical instruments, forms of currencies, some colossal. In many cases, perceived value lay in the quality of material and smithing skill, but sheer visual inventiveness, the kind that makes you just stop and look, must always have been a primary factor. For a contemporary audience, it clearly is. I can't believe that young artists won't be knocked out by this stuff. Not just by the look of it, but by objects believed to be spiritual, channeling, and interactively alive. Well, it's not an iPad, so that's probably part of the reason. We have very like ADD, like the lights and stuff like send out like dopamine signals. Like when you get likes on Instagram, it sends out like dopamine signals. That's why people get like severely depressed through social media. It's very addictive as compared to a piece of iron. Although I am very much a fan of like analog and like the well, obviously you can't touch them because in the museum, but if you like grab something that has like a texture, like a feeling. So one of the very few major exhibitions of African art in the country this season, the show should pull major crowds here and in Washington when it travels there next year. Will it? I don't see any. Well, I guess in comparison, but I don't really know of any I can't say I really looked into it either, but like I don't know of art museum shows that pull in big crowds. Period. I mean, maybe like the King Tut Egyptian thing. That's the only thing I can think of. Unless you're like, well, like in comparison, yes, but I think compared to other like normal things, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think it will though. It would have been a perfect fit in material, size, everything for the late Museum for African Art in New York. But with that institution gone and nothing replacing it and no one else jumping in, New York loses out. In the fields of empty days. This is going to be another long one, isn't it? Los Angeles County Museum of Art. What is this? Detail Yasmin Sanai sculpture, the act of Gurdifard. In the show, I'm butchering these names. In the Field of Empty Days at Los Angeles County Museum of Art. What is this made out of? Maybe you'll tell me. I can't tell if it's like... It almost looks like paper and cardboard. But very well it could be like clay, though. That's why you need to go see shows to actually like look at the stuff instead of like looking at pictures on the internet. Videos are a little bit better, but still go to art shows, go to museums. If you're listening to this, and if you're listening to this today or whenever, and it's like the weekend, and you're like, I kind of want to do something, I don't know what to do. Like type in like your city, and either like art shows, art galleries, or art museums. Facebook is getting pretty good about like promoting that stuff too. So let's get back to it. The Los Angeles County Museum of Art has an exhibition that's hard to imagine being done, at least on the same scale and in the same unorthodox style in any other big American museum. For the past several years, LACMA has been... what? Come on now. Assiduously, with great care and perseverance, buying contemporary Iranian art, and now has the largest collection in the country. Selections from it make up the bulk of the major show, 125 works, called In the Fields of Empty Days, the intersection of past and present in Iranian art. One of its themes is how political power is embodied in archetypal figures, the hero, the saint, and how those figures, as seen in art, change over time. The earliest images are illustrations for the Book of Kings, Iran's national epic. In the book, rulers come and go, but the central figure, the one who sets its moral tone, is the warrior named Rostam. He's a model of moral and physical strength. In a 17th century manuscript painting, we see him gleefully dispatching the devil with his bare hands. I kind of want to see that. Near that painting hangs a contemporary piece, a digital print from the 2009 series Rostam in Late Summer. Revisited by Faridon Av. The Rostam figure here will be instantly familiar to modern Iranians. It's the wrestler Abbas Jadidi, who won the silver medal in the 1996 Olympics. In the print, he stands massively flexing. The image is lifted from a press photo against a ground of giant roses. And they're talking about this one here. That'd be cool if I could. What's interesting here is not so much the notion that an ancient ideal of strong-arm heroism has been popified and degraded, but that the ideal survives, even thrives in what we sometimes consider a more enlightened present. So it kind of looks like a collage of like a black and white wrestler on top of some flowers and kind of a pattern type thing. Oh, that looks cool. Kind of reminds me of a Like the muted red kind of reminds me of like some of the Shepard Fairey stuff, and it being collaged too reminds me of that. But I think his is straight screen print now, and I mean he obviously he does paste it, but a digital print by Faradon Avenue from the series Rostam in Late Summer revisit 2009 in the show In the Fields of Empty Days. The Rostam figure is the Iranian wrestler Abish Jadidi, who won the silver medal in the 1996 Olympics. Okay. The show, organized by Linda Komarov, curator of Islamic art, doesn't say this directly. In fact, it says nothing directly at all. The galleries are all but bare of explanatory labels. There are a few informational touchscreens halfway through. Ordinarily, I find this lack of history or commentary disturbing, perverse. But here, silence works because so much of the art, and particularly the new art by Puya, Asfar, Shoya, Azari, Raman Hazadak, I'm butchering these names, Melakai Nayi, Yasmin Senye, Nusha Tavakloan is so strong. You may not understand details of specific narratives, but you clearly see that there are narratives, old and new, and that they're related. That they're about the drama of power, clashes, and the violent emotions they can stir. Only the visual language changes. The most extensively depicted historical figure here is Shah Nashar al-Din, largely because he introduced photography to Iran and set for the camera a lot. He ruled for nearly 50 years, did some modernizing, but pandered to Europe, ignored corruption in his own regime, and was finally assassinated. Official images of him on view reveal little of any of this. Most show a stiff, reserved, inexpressive, sword-bearing figurehead, a version only slightly updated in an antique icon of imperial might. But we see quite a different Nasir al-Din in a 2009 series of digital prints by the Iranian artist Siamik Filazadeh. Using actors in elaborate sets, Mr. Filazadeh presents the story of ruler's life as a, oh my god, what is this? Jesus Christ.
Phantasmagoria.
Phantasmagoria. You're really using those big words here, aren't you? What does it mean? A sequence of real or imaginary images like those seen in a dream. So it's like surrealism. You could just say it as, well, no. Okay. It's not my article. Presents the story of the ruler's life as a phantasmagoria of kink and corruption, and the Shah himself as a shameless, let-it-all-hang-out clown. The images are beyond Sindoop. They're, oh my god, they're a pointedly flipped version of old power. The ruler's a failure, but he's also a winner because now he's a big personality, a folk hero, a star. The images, old and new, say it all. Chances are good that I'm not going to encounter as offbeat and exercise in art as history in any other museum anywhere soon. Maybe they're only likely to happen with any regularity in a place where art institutions and their conventions are seen as are still in a healthy state of flux. I'm glad I caught the show here. All right, so I'm actually kind of interested in like Middle Eastern art to some degree. African art. I mean, there was a whole. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Japanese art when it had an influence with like the flat figures, like Monet and stuff. Was it Monet? Then they started to like flatten out all the images, like the woodblock prints. But when there's like a crossing of cultures, there seems to be they kind of influence each other. But I don't live in Los Angeles, so obviously I'm not going to see any of those shows. So maybe I ought to look into doing I don't know, there's like a whole, maybe like try to look into maybe around the first of next month when they have the gallery hop, do a look into what show's going on then. But this one's longer than I thought. I'm trying to make these short, and it's not happening. So it's about 30 minutes. But yeah, I'm Christopher Pack. All my links are in the description. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I got my website. I'm on YouTube. If you're watching this, you'll see. Try to get the audio up at some point when I get it figured out. But this has been Today in Art. So I'll catch you later. All right. Have a good day. Drink a lot of coffee. Take a shit. It's good for you.